What is happening, AJ Gaming Dude here, and for someone like myself who does like to talk about games and anime, there's no way I can't talk about the passing of Akira Toriyama, who is famous for being the creator of Dragon Ball, and I'm sure that a lot of people have made videos on the internet talking about sort of what Dragon Ball meant to them and things like that. Now, it's been a few days after, or at least the recording of this video. I'm actually going to be uploading it the day that I'm recording it. So it's because I also didn't have a video for lined up for today, and I did want to talk about Toriyama Sensei, but I actually kind of wanted to more so celebrate his accomplishments and the things that he's done, because I feel like you can talk about different properties that he's worked on, but he has had quite a legacy, especially if you've been in the anime scene for quite some time. Especially Dragon Ball, of course, isn't the only thing that he's worked on. He did do the art for Dragon Quest, and of course Dragon Quest did in fact come before Final Fantasy. So for those of you guys that don't know, Final Fantasy started in 1987 when if I remember correctly, with Dragon Quest, it was 1986 that the Dragon Quest series started. He also did Chrono Trigger and Blue Dragon, as it says here on his Wikipedia article. So he has done multiple games and manga and things like that, and it was sad enough that we lost the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Last year, or was it the year before last year? It was a little while ago. And then even then we also lost the mangaka for Berserk. There's a lot of really famous talented individuals that are now just leaving us, that have made exceptionally gut-wrenching pieces of art that we continue to partake in even now. It's really just hard to tell, but he passed at the age of 68 as of the 1st of March this year, which was about a week and a half ago as of me recording this. And one thing that I completely forgot about and no one seemed to have talked about was Dr. Slump. So if you remember a character called Adail, actually, here we go, I've got it right here. So Adail here is actually one of the first, I would argue that she is actually the main character of Dr. Slump, really. Dr. Slump, Jesus Christ, oh, God, this takes me back, holy cow. Dr. Slump is, I didn't realize how old Dr. Slump was until I was doing some research on Toriyama's work. And of course, you could go into Wikipedia and then look up, this is what was kind of worked on. This manga was started in 1980. Holy crap. But yeah, so if you recognize Ariel, she does appear in some episodes of Dragon Ball and things like that, but Dr. Slump was definitely one of those things that led to him doing stuff like Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest, and things like that. Still though, it's just insane to think about that people don't really recognize something like Dr. Slump. And then of course we had Dragon Ball, his next piece of work, which was met a lot of international success with taking a lot of inspirations from Journey to the West. Journey to the West, because the main character is called Son Goku, which is actually also the main character, the monkey man from Journey to the West, in that original story. And I feel like now with say games like Black Myth Wukong coming out, that was also kind of based on a similar idea of being able to take form of different animals. But I think with Dragon Ball they really just stuck with the monkey aspect of it. And of course Dragon Ball was sort of Goku as a kid growing up, and was significantly more of a comedy. And then we had Dragon Ball Z as the sequelization to that. More often than not, I think at this point, I don't think a lot of shows or franchises actually evolve from its original form to something completely different, with all of the characters being grown up. I think one example that I'm watching at the moment is Shaman King Flowers. which makes me wonder, like, why was Shaman King Flowers made? Like, it's not a good sequel to jump off of, especially with how good Shaman King can be. But with Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, it only got better. The more was written, put together, and things like that. And while I kind of attributed that to more or less me just coming from home from school somewhere between the age of like 8 to 10, sitting down, watching TV after school, and then seeing an episode of Dragon Ball at like, 3:30, 4 p.m. or something like that. Yeah, that was certainly something. Now, one thing I didn't know was that he worked on Chrono Trigger as the character designer, which was actually neat to know. Dragon Quest, of course, like, his art style is unmistakable. If you see anything drawn by Toriyama, you will know it. Like when the Sandland trailer, so the trailer for the new Sandland game was about to be released this year, I think. You see that art style, you're like, it's Toriyama. Like, you cannot mistake his art style. You know exactly what is happening, what he's doing, and things like that. Dragon Ball GT wasn't exactly like well received, or Dragon Ball Kai either. So there was like a few different like Dragon Ball spin-offs, additions, and a few other things in between. He did work on with Oda Sensei, who creates the One Piece, rather. They did work on Film Z together, which was interesting to know, and I was like, holy cow, like, these guys have, like, this guy has worked alongside a lot of other famous mangakas that we now know to this day. Whether it be Oda Sensei, who created One Piece, whether it be the creator of Naruto, a lot of these guys have actually left letters that actually made me tear up a little bit reading, with them talking about, Toriyama Sensei, what he's done as an impact to them, to the people around him, and then just like the audience as a whole. He's had such a magnificent impact on the international community that people are coming together in games like Dragon Quest X, for example, and kind of making tributes to him, because without him, there's a lot that we would not have. There's a lot that we would not be able to get to grips with. Like, would Final Fantasy actually be around if he didn't help create Dragon Quest to some extent? Probably not. There's a lot of what ifs and things like that, but the whole concept of power scaling, like, in most shows, yes, that was kind of a pain in the ass, but like in Dragon Ball, it was a unique and fresh concept that a lot of serials, a lot of like manga, ended up aping to an extent. And yeah, like, the fact that he's creating a new story. He was God damn it, he was creating a sort of a new arc for Sandland, and then that's kind of like where the game is kind of based off of. The fact that we're getting a Sandland game, even though he made a one-shot for Sandland back in 2000. Wow. I mean, the man's a goddamn legend. There was one message that was written in one of the letters, and it's like hard for me to like say with like a straight face, because it kind of makes me a little bit sad inside. That one of the mangakas, I can't remember which, I think it might have been the Naruto, the guy who created Naruto. What he said was, hopefully heaven looks like the way you imagined it, because in Dragon Ball, King Kai and things like that, like, he created what heaven looked like in the Dragon Ball universe. And yes, Goku does die at times and not die, like, he has to pass King Kai and go to heaven, and things like that, and it looked like a really nice place. And so it was like this tribute of almost like a very, very solid Dragon Ball reference of like, we hope that the way you imagine things, that it is actually like that up there. Oh, God, I mean, that's a very, very sort of like sad place to end. But let's just be happy that things happened there, and then to have lost and to have never happened at all. I feel like that's kind of like the main thing that I want to say. Normally I don't really like talk about a lot of things that kind of hit me as much as this. A lot of people have said that, so I won't say that too much myself. But yeah, do let me know what you guys think about the passing of Toriyama Sensei. But also, what is your favorite piece of work from him? Personally, if I were to say my favorite piece of work from him, it absolutely would have to have been the Dragon Quest franchise. I feel like that's because I love Dragon Quest. I love Final Fantasy. His art style is unmistakable in the Dragon Quest franchise. That's the influence. I'm actually getting I'm gonna buy a copy of a physical copy of Dragon Quest 11S because I have a physical copy of Dragon Quest 11 and that got delisted on digital platforms in favor of Dragon Quest 11S, which was the Switch version of Dragon Quest 11 with slightly less content and some other things like that. So I want to have both versions of Dragon Quest 11 like as a physical copy. But yeah, so I was just about to do that now. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about all of this. Put all of your comments in the comments below. What's your favorite piece of any piece of content that Toriyama has made over the years, over the decades? I think Dr. Slump comes as a close second, I think. But then like Dragon Ball is definitely there, so it's hard to like ignore the impact of something like Dragon Ball compared to like his early works with Dr. Slump and then Dragon Quest, and yeah. It all just kind of like amalgamates eventually. But yeah, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subs by the end of the year, and with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.